Buckle up because this video is dense. I will have timestamps in the description box if you do want to hop forward or in between different sections of the video. But let's get into this. As humans, we are cyclical beings. Our lives are constantly affected and led by the different cycles that we tend to go through as humans. You can think of the yearly cycles, annual cycles, like the seasons. But as women, we are also affected by monthly cycles, our menstrual cycles, or also called our moon cycles. However, in our modern world, we don't only tend to forget to listen to what our bodies tell us, we also pretty much forget that we are cyclical beings. Our modern world is very much dominated by masculine energy. It's basically what it's built upon. And we are trying to be linear, which honestly even men are not. So it does not make any sense. However, where a woman's cycle, you could say, is linked to the moon and moon cycle, men's cycles are more linked to the sun. They are on an annual cycle, with testosterone peaking in spring and having a low in autumn. Anyway, for women, this linear focused life can be even more draining than it is for men, because we simply don't listen to what our bodies are trying to tell us. But what if I tell you that you can not only feel better in your body, but also actually be more productive by listening to what your body is telling you throughout the month? That is why today we are going to look at how we can live in sync with our cycle to basically just get the most out of life. That said, if you are currently not menstruating for whatever reason, that's fine, that's okay. You can still do this. You can actually sync your life to the moon phases. And that way still kind of feel the benefits of doing this. Our menstrual cycle is called a moon cycle for a reason. Okay, let's look at what our menstrual cycle actually entails. So a lot of cycles seem to be split up in 4 phases. Think of the annual cycles of the seasons. We have spring, summer, autumn and winter. The moon phases of new moon, waxing moon, waning moon? I never can remember which is which. So new moon, waxing moon, full moon and waning moon. But also our menstrual cycles are split up in 4 different phases. Not all, however, are the same length, that's for sure. You could pretty much say that it is short, longish, short, longish for our menstrual cycle. I think that in order to know how we can live in tune with our menstrual cycle, it is important to first understand our menstrual cycle. So that's what we're doing first. I'm going to walk you through all of the phases of the menstrual cycle, what they entail, so you can really understand it. And with that information, really start to sync your life to your menstrual cycle. Because I truly do think that this is life-changing. So our menstrual cycle starts with menstruation. The first day that we bleed is seen as the first day of a new cycle. Menstruation is basically just the passing of the uterine lining that was built up through the previous cycle. Menstruation is often seen as the new moon of our menstrual cycle. So if you don't menstruate yourself, you can use the new moon to start your own cycle. Typically menstruation lasts from anywhere from like 3 up to 6 days, with definite changes from person to person. During this phase, your body is very much cleansing itself. So not only is it letting go of the uterine lining, but also your liver and your kidneys are hard at work to break up the high hormone levels of your previous cycle, getting rid of excess estrogen as well as progesterone from your last cycle. Menstruation is also where all of those hormones are at the lowest level that they will be in your cycle. So really just a clean start, if you will. Your energy tends to be the lowest at this point of your cycle, which if you're a woman, you very likely have experienced yourself. This definitely should not come as a surprise for you. And this is definitely the point in your cycle to get ready for new beginnings. You are starting a new cycle, so anything that no longer serves you, try to let it go. Perfect sound effect from June. After menstruation, we get into our follicular phase, which is linked to the waxing moon. So technically, you could say that this phase already starts at the first day of your new cycle, because hormones start to slowly build already. And on average, this phase lasts for about 14 days, but please keep in mind that this is very personal again. So ovulation is on day 14, very much a myth. For a lot of people that is actually not the case. So if you truly want to understand where you are at any given day in your cycle, there are a few more things that you can keep in mind and that you can check in order for you to know where you are. If you're interested in this, go and look up FAM, Fertility Awareness Methods, which gives you so much information about your cycle and about the health of your body as well. I truly do think that knowing fertility awareness is so beneficial for any woman to really get to know her body and her own cycle. So during your follicular phase, your body basically starts to get ready for ovulation. The follicle stimulating hormone sets the ovaries to work to start producing estrogen. The rise in FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, say hi to June. Wow, where was I? The rise in FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, like the name suggests, stimulates the follicles to develop. So inside of your follicles are immature eggs. Generally, each cycle, 10 to 20 eggs start to develop, but only 1 or 2 make it to actual ovulation. The rise in estrogen in this part of the cycle also prompts the uterine lining to start building up again so that it can ready for a potential pregnancy. The rise in estrogen also starts up the production of cervical fluid, which gradually becomes more fertile as you approach ovulation. Estrogen has a rejuvenating effect on your body, on your psyche. It makes you feel more energized, more outgoing, and just generally it helps to elevate your mood, which is great. You could say that the follicular phase pretty much focuses on growth, and it kind of resembles spring after the winter of your menstrual phase. During this phase, your energy and your creativity tends to grow, allowing you to kickstart new projects or plan for this next cycle. So basically, plan, set your intentions, and start acting on them. This is also the part of our cycle where we tend to be more productive, especially after the rest that we really needed in our menstrual phase. So use that to your advantage. After our follicular phase, we get into our ovulatory phase, which corresponds with the full moon. During this phase, estrogen peaks, which you can directly see in your cervical fluid, which is now the most slippery and stretchy that it is throughout the cycle. The peak in estrogen also prompts the pituitary gland, did I say that right? Pituitary gland, to release a surge of LH, luteinizing hormone. And this is what makes the follicle release the now mature egg, which is ovulation. It's good to know that that egg actually only lives for about 12 to 24 hours, so not very long. Your ovulatory phase is fairly short in general. I personally see my ovulatory phase pretty much from like the building up of the cervical fluid to the point of ovulation, after which you will notice that your cervical fluid also tends to dry up pretty quickly. Energetically, ovulation is the time where you are going to feel the most energized, most sensual, the most outgoing from any part of your... She's so distracting sometimes. Yeah, so the most outgoing from any part of your cycle. You could say that all your systems are working at their highest level to get you ready for possible conception. And you can feel this reflected in your overall energy levels. Emotionally, you're going to feel more open to both give as well as receive. You're going to be more expressive. And ovulation is often seen as the summer of your menstrual cycle, which makes sense. So this phase is the perfect time for big events, for maybe an interview or a big presentation. And then after ovulation, we pretty abruptly fall into our luteal phase, which corresponds to the waning moon of our cycle. The rise in estrogen and LH triggers the pituitary gland to produce less FSH and LH, which in turn means that you're also going to be producing less estrogen. So all of those hormones drop right after ovulation. The now empty follicle that was holding your egg turns into the corpus luteum, which now starts producing progesterone. This is what is the main hormone of your luteal phase. And this is also what keeps your uterine lining intact for a possible pregnancy until that corpus luteum dies off and you start your new cycle. The sudden rise in progesterone also means that your basal body temperature is going to rise with it. So the best way to know if you are actually ovulating is by tracking your basal body temperature, your waking temperature. You'll actually be able to see the rise in temperature, which is a big part of the fertility awareness method, but also from tools like Daisy, which I've personally used for years, and I think Ladycomb is another one. During this phase, your energy tends to go more inwards as your body prepares to nurture a possible pregnancy. So during this phase, you'll slowly start to feel your energy going down a little bit and turning more inwards. And this is a really nice opportunity to slowly start to draw away from the external world and bring your attention to your inside world. This is also the perfect time of your cycle to finish up any projects and really just reflect on this past cycle. So that was a quick look at our menstrual cycle. I know that already was a ton of information. Now let's look at some ways that we can actually use this information to sync our life to our menstrual cycle. So following your natural energy levels throughout the month can actually hugely help you to reduce stress in your life, which, yes, is something that I have personally actually seen in my life. So a big tip is to plan according to your menstrual cycle wherever possible. I know this is not going to be super easy for most people, me included, even though I am self-employed, but there are definitely things that you can do to incorporate the two together basically. So let's start with the follicular phase. This is the perfect time to really start planning new projects and start up new projects, to brainstorm new ideas, innovations. This is really your planning part of your cycle. Your creativity gets a boost, your energy is getting a boost, so really use that to your advantage. You're going to be more productive, you are going to be more creative, so that whole package really makes this the perfect time to start planning and start up new exciting projects. Then during ovulation, this is the perfect time to plan big events. So think about presentations, workshops, interviews, big social events, or even smaller social events if you're an introvert like me. Parties. Just try to be careful not to overdo it, because overdoing it can actually worsen PMS during your luteal phase. Not great. Then during your luteal phase, you're going to want to prioritize rest as well as reflection. So finish up any projects, reflect on this past cycle, on the projects that you did this last cycle. And also this is the perfect time to start making some preparations for your menstrual phase, so you can actually take the rest that you really need during that part of your cycle. So things that I personally like to focus on is doing some gentle cleaning around the house so I can truly enjoy the rest of my menstrual phase. Also, I really like to focus on making really healthy, nourishing meals, put those in the freezer during this phase, which means that I am eating healthy during my luteal phase, which again can help with PMS and also with menstrual cramps in the next phase. But this also means that I'll have nourishing meals ready for me when I am menstruating, which means that I can actually take the rest that I need during menstruation and I don't have to cook or think about it, and I can just really enjoy those meals, which is great. And that brings us to our menstrual phase, which, like I said, for the most people will last anywhere from like 3 to 6 days. I know that for most people it's not going to be possible, but if you can, try and see if you can maybe get 2 or 3 days off when your new cycle starts. Personally, I usually cannot take any time off. However, what I can do is not take on any extra tasks during this phase, so that I can actually allow myself to get the most rest I possibly can. Also, having the extra meals ready in the freezer means that I don't have to cook, and that the time that I would usually spend cooking or thinking about that, I now have that time to rest, which is also super beneficial for me, I have noticed. If possible, I also try to avoid most social engagements Again, not always possible, but wherever I can, I try to plan around my menstrual phase. So those are just some really simple tips that may or may not be easy for you to incorporate in your life, but that can definitely benefit you when you do try to do so. I also quickly wanted to look at exercise during your cycle. So throughout your cycle, it's a big tip to just keep moving. Rest is good, but also keeping moving keeps blood flowing and keeps everything go smoothly. So simple things like gentle walks and even just cleaning your house are great ways to kind of keep moving throughout your cycle, no matter where you are in your cycle. However, changing your actual exercise load can make a big difference in how you experience your overall cycle and energy levels. It's something that can truly help you balance your energy levels throughout your cycle. So let's start with menstruation. See if you can maybe take some time off. Again, allowing your body to rest and reset. Personally, I like to not do any exercise the first like 3-ish days of my cycle. For me, moving usually doesn't feel good in this part of my cycle anyway. And if I do want any movement, mostly this looks like doing some gentle yin yoga or some gentle stretches. And of course, my dog walks because she needs to walk. And actually just walking usually is fine. Maybe just enjoy some slow nature walks and restorative yoga. So really allowing your body to reset, restore and rest. Then the follicular phase. In this phase, your energy levels start to build again, which you can use in your exercise routine, I guess. So this is the perfect time for more dynamic practices. So think of vinyasa yoga, cardio, high intensity interval training, I think it's called, like full out HIIT. Weight training as well. So really using that boost in energy in your exercise. It is, however, important to not go too hard. So ideally you want to feel invigorated, energized and just refreshed after exercising. So if at any point you feel drained after you're done exercising, that means you've basically gone a little bit too hard. So really keep tabs on your body in that way and notice how you feel afterwards. Then ovulation, you get this huge boost in energy. So again, use that. It's actually a great time to do more intense forms of exercise during this part of your cycle. It's a fairly short part, so be strategic about this. But this is where your body can handle the most, and also actually where it can feel really good to kind of help you release some of that energy. This is the perfect time for Ashtanga and power yoga. Again, weight training is a great idea. Running, dancing, whatever feels good. So really get the blood flowing, get that heart pumping. Then during your luteal phase, this is where you're going to try and kind of calm down your exercising again. So light to moderate exercise is perfect for this phase. Again, ideally you're going to feel refreshed and energized after you're done exercising. So if you feel drained, you did too much. During this phase, good ways of exercising are hatha yoga, yin yoga. Also, movement forms like tai chi and qigong are great during this part of your cycle. But also just walking and swimming. So anything that isn't going to ask too much from your body, but definitely keeps you moving. Even though yin yoga is very soft, so not too much movement there actually. But it's still very beneficial to kind of help you calm down and release some of the stress from your life. So really during this phase, find some gentler ways of moving your body. So maybe don't go as hard in the gym, maybe don't lift as much weight. So those are some of the tips that I have for you in order to sync your life with your menstrual cycle. Like I said, I truly do believe that this is life-changing. If you would like to start tracking your own menstrual cycle, I highly recommend you to look into fun fertility awareness methods. There's actually this really good book that I am currently rereading by Tony... don't remember. Anyway, I'll have it linked for you. Highly recommend this. If you are a woman, read this. Like, there's so much information in that book on reading the signs of your body. It is so valuable. Also, there are tools that can help you track your cycle. Like I said, I've been using Daisy for I think over 5 years at this point, which is basically just a thermometer, and you take your temperature upon waking up each morning. What I like about Daisy is that in the app you can also track other fertility signs like your cervical fluid or yeah, anything basically. And then also I am using the Ultrahuman ring since a few months. This is still kind of getting used to the rhythms of my body, but it is starting to get more and more accurate, which is pretty impressive. So this might actually be the easiest way to do so. On the app you can see where you are at any given point in your cycle, which is really nice, and also gives you some tips to really live with your cycle, which is super interesting. Like, it tells you what's going on and how you can kind of lean into that. I really like that about the Ultrahuman ring. What I would like though is being able to also track things like my cervical fluid in there, so I kind of have everything in one place. Anyway, that's just some simple tips to kind of help you with tracking your cycle if you like. Best tip though is fertility awareness method. Like, please look into that if you want to start following your cycle. Because like I said, different phases have different times and lengths for each one of us. So knowing that specifically for your body can be really beneficial in this. That was it for this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. If it was helpful for you, please give it a thumbs up and maybe share it with someone if you think it might be helpful for them. With that, I wish you a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!